I don't work at Donut anymore, and I haven't for a while.
I'm no longer an employee at Hoonigan. It's a very weird thing to think about after 6-7 years.
After 10 years of working for Car Throttle, I have now officially left.
We're leaving Donut. We're starting our own channel.
After a decade, I am no longer employed by Hoonigan.
I quit my dream job, and straight after quitting, I got a message from Will asking if we should do the thing that we've been talking about doing for years.
In recent years, successful automotive channels have been losing their top talent at an alarming rate. The hosts who built brands like Donut Media, Hoonigan, and Car Throttle are walking away from their own creations to start over independently. For fans watching these departures stack up, the question is obvious. Why would someone leave a channel they spent years building? According to industry insiders, the answer comes down to a familiar story: money and corporate management. As this veteran motoring blogger explained, these channels should rocket to the next level, but instead crash when greed and money takes over. By now, the pattern is pretty predictable. Passionate creators build something special. Through authenticity and creativity, the channel grows. Big investors take notice and buy in with promises of more resources and bigger reach. That's when things start to change. Corporate priorities take over, and suddenly the whole operation feels completely different. This is what insiders are calling the new YouTube cycle. Business interests put profit ahead of creativity, hosts lose the creative freedom that made their content work in the first place, and eventually they walk away from the very thing they built.
I was really not happy being in an office. I don't really enjoy the whole aspect of the big business, lots of drama and politics.
It's happening so often now that another major automotive personality leaving doesn't even surprise people anymore. The real question is what's actually driving all these exits and whether anything can stop it. The biggest force behind so many of these departures is corporate takeover culture, which has quietly reshaped how once independent channels operate. Many of these channels began as small, passion-driven projects built by people who grew audiences by doing things their own way. But as they became successful, they also became attractive acquisition targets for private equity firms and larger media companies. The pitch is always positive: more resources, wider distribution, and higher production value. But those deals bring a different set of priorities that slowly change the channel's DNA. The pattern is familiar. Creators build something from scratch, the brand becomes valuable, and eventually it gets sold. New ownership restructures the business, shifts focus toward efficiency and profitability, and the creative side starts feeling boxed in. Because the real value was always the people making the content, those creators are usually the first to feel the pressure.
The new leadership at Donut and I often disagreed about what was best for Donut. I was very vocal about what I thought.
Once investors are involved, performance metrics begin driving decisions. Subscriber growth, watch time, and revenue matter more than curiosity or experimentation. Content becomes safer, more repeatable, and easier to monetize. You can see this across big automotive outlets like Donut Media, The Drive, and similar platforms, where experimental ideas give way to proven formats, merch-friendly series, and sponsor-safe content. Everything looks polished, but it feels less personal. From an investor's perspective, these channels are assets waiting to be optimized, but fans see something different. As one Reddit user put it, when big money people start talking about returns on investment, they start restricting creativity. Creators lose independence, and many eventually leave to chase that old feeling of making what they actually care about. The irony is that these short-term reforms usually backfire. Companies eventually realize that the real value was never just the logo or the brand name, it was the people behind it. By the time that becomes obvious, those people are often gone, and what's left is a once great channel slowly sliding into decline. In response to all this corporate pressure, many hosts have decided to just go their own way.
We're leaving Donut. We're starting our own channel, our very own channel. And this is it. Big time.
The same forces pushing creators out of corporate-controlled channels have also given them the skills and confidence to go independent. YouTube is going through a similar cycle to what happened with early podcast networks. Creators join a big network thinking they need the support, but eventually they realize they can handle everything themselves and keep way more of the revenue. After selling their stake in a channel, founders often watch their former colleagues get squeezed by new management, and that's when those talented hosts decide to rebuild on their own terms. The financial incentives are pretty straightforward. On a personal channel, creators keep 100% of their ad and sponsorship income. With network deals, revenue typically gets split 50-50. Several hosts who left Donut Media said outright that they were frustrated watching corporate owners shift budgets away from the content they wanted to make, like their elaborate, up-to-speed deep dives, toward cheap affiliate listicles instead. By starting their own channels, these creators get control of both the budget and the content back. The numbers prove that fans follow the people, not the brand. When 2 longtime Donut presenters announced their own project, Donut's subscriber count took an immediate hit. Within days of the announcement, Donut Media lost about 50,000 subscribers. It's clear that many fans were there for the personalities, not the corporate name. There's also a quality of life aspect to going independent. Several hosts who left big channels said they were just tired of being a small piece in a large machine. They didn't want to deal with bean counters and constant corporate infighting anymore. On Autopian, one fan watching this trend play out made a good point that we're fools to not believe that the same consolidation isn't happening on the interwebs, comparing what's happening in online media to past industries that got ruined by corporate greed. For creators, going independent feels like taking back control of something sustainable. And honestly, some of these new independent channels show real potential. On their own, hosts can stay in their lane and pursue projects fans actually care about without juggling endless meetings or having to justify every creative risk.
Most of my days were filled with back-to-back meetings, sales calls, pitching stuff, making decks, doing more corporate office type shit, right?
One blogger who went independent talks about enjoying the freedom to shoot whatever video she wants with minimal interference. She doesn't have managers breathing down her neck, and she can run quirky experiments, like flying her rock star friend out to drive a Mustang on camera, that a corporate editor would never approve. That creative freedom usually translates into content fans love. Industry observers have noted that these offshoot channels often start small, but can eventually scale up to rival big studios. Over time, they attract loyal audiences looking for that old style of content, and sometimes they even surpass the production quality of their former employers. What we're seeing is the rise of a more diverse landscape of creator-led channels. Automotive fans now have way more independent sources to follow, and the personalities who left corporate channels seem genuinely happy to pour their energy into projects that excite them. On the same topic, this commentator cheerfully pointed out how these creators are publishing more often than they used to on more varied topics, so fans might actually be getting more of what they want. For the hosts, the move can be financially worth it too. When they build their own brand, they stop splitting revenue with the corporate owner and avoid the fate of just sitting at a desk doing BS work for someone else's quarterly report.
We don't get to decide what Donut does, which is scary when you're the faces of it.
Beyond the corporate drama, there's another layer of pressure making life harder for creators: the platforms themselves. YouTube's algorithm demands a constant stream of new content optimized for views and click-throughs, and that relentless pace kills creativity. Creators end up making videos designed to please the algorithm, instead of pursuing the passion projects they actually care about. The pressure to churn out successful content means sticking to safe, formulaic topics instead of experimental ideas. That endless grind to hit metrics makes the corporate environment feel even more suffocating. Then there's the money problem. Car videos are expensive to produce, like renting vehicles, traveling to races, and filming exotic builds. When ad revenue or sponsorship deals start drying up, networks look for ways to cut costs. Under corporate management, that usually means cutting staff and outsourcing production. It's a classic MBA approach. Cut costs to drive efficiency, even when those cuts destroy the very thing that made the brand valuable in the first place. When budgets shrink, hosts lose both resources and autonomy, and morale collapses. Content restrictions add another layer of frustration. After corporate acquisitions, channels face more brand safety oversight, which makes creators nervous about touching certain topics or making certain jokes. These corporate YouTube operations often exist partly to avoid stricter broadcast regulations. They can employ crew without union rules and produce content without full network oversight. But this also means channels get run like startups with a corporate facade, where any content that looks bad under legal or PR scrutiny puts immediate pressure on the hosts. For creators used to having few constraints, this shift is incredibly frustrating. Algorithm changes make things even tougher. Many hosts built their careers when YouTube rewarded viral hits and niche passions. Now, with SEO and ads getting more complex, success depends more on analytics and ad performance than raw creativity. Google's constant changes have made it harder to quantify ROI on ads, which forces channels to chase sponsored content or Amazon affiliate videos instead of doing actual automotive journalism. In this environment, independence gets chipped away piece by piece. It's reminiscent of how radio consolidation killed diversity in music. And there's a real fear that the same thing is happening online. The same money and corporate pressure that hollowed out FM radio is now reshaping digital content. All these pressures combined make big corporate channels hostile places for creative people. Between endless performance metrics and constantly shifting platform rules, the environment feels brutal. And when left unchecked, it pushes out the very talent these companies needed in the first place. What starts as a creative outlet slowly transforms into a hollow marketing machine. For many hosts, leaving is better than becoming a cog in that system. And this isn't just a YouTube thing. Classic TV car shows have dealt with the same problems. Take BBC's Top Gear, probably the most famous automotive program in the world. In 2015, longtime star Jeremy Clarkson had a very public falling out with production staff that ended in an on-set altercation. After Clarkson got fired, his co-hosts Richard Hammond and James May resigned in solidarity. That incident was about personality and behavior, but it also showed how quickly things can fall apart when a show's direction and leadership start changing. The BBC tried to revive the show with new hosts, including Chris Evans, but that fell apart too. Evans ended up stepping down after reports surfaced that co-presenter Matt LeBlanc was threatening to quit if Evans stayed, and that Evans's management style was tyrannical on set. Top Gear kept losing hosts every time the chemistry or creative vision broke down. After leaving Top Gear, Clarkson, May, and Hammond quickly launched the Grand Tour on Amazon Prime. It was a massive success at first, but even that didn't last forever. Grand Tour eventually lost Clarkson again in 2019, reportedly because of burnout and losing enthusiasm for the format. The show has continued with Hammond and May since then. These were big-budget pay TV projects, but the lesson is the same. Even highly successful franchises struggle when the core talent gets fed up with the constraints of the format, schedule, or corporate backers. Fans still say things like Top Gear is never the same without Clarkson, which really drives home that people watch for the personalities. Other TV car shows have gone through similar upheaval. The long-running UK show Fifth Gear went through multiple host changes before finally ending in 2016 as original presenters left to start new ventures or just found the schedule too demanding. In the US, automotive media has fragmented across cable networks and streaming services, with veteran hosts either moving to streaming or turning down new contracts. Even niche shows like motorcycle programs and off-road series have had presenters jump ship to produce their own content. These shifts reflect a broader media trend. Traditional TV is often less flexible and way more bureaucratic than nimble online platforms. The recurring theme here is that whether it's broadcast, TV, or YouTube channels, the individuals behind the show matter way more than the brand name. Networks might chase brand continuity, but audiences follow the hosts. As one Reddit commentator bluntly put it about Donut Media's leadership, big businessmen think they know better than the people who built what they bought and proceed to ruin it in the name of profit margins. The same complaint comes up with large channels in other genres too. MBAs step in and start making cuts. When longtime hosts feel creatively caged or financially squeezed, they'd often rather leave and rebuild from scratch than stick around. All these departures from big automotive channels point to a larger shift in how media gets made. In the past, it was pretty normal for content creators to build a niche audience under a corporate umbrella and just stay there. Now, as digital platforms have matured, creators are more willing and more able to control their own output. What we're seeing is talent spreading out into lots of smaller channels, each one focused on personality and passion instead of corporate polish. A lot of fans actually see this as a good thing. Instead of one big network controlling all the car content, there are now dozens of independent voices filling different niches. And when experienced hosts leave a large channel, they bring that expertise to their new projects. More competition usually means higher quality across the board. From the corporate side, these departures hurt. Companies have poured serious money into automotive brands expecting long-term returns, only to realize they've accidentally destroyed the main asset, the team of creators who built the thing in the first place. The industry is learning that profitability can't overshadow what actually made a channel special. Corporate executives risk watching their golden brand become worthless if they ignore what gives it soul. Whether it's YouTube studios or TV sound stages, the era of unchecked media consolidation is running into a hard truth. Audiences value authenticity. The road ahead for automotive media will be defined by whoever can strike the right balance between running a business and capturing the pure joy of sharing car stories. And right now, that balance seems to exist outside the corporate world. Tuna, no Crust, signing off.